Welcome to Tour With Me Live, a show that discusses kink, community, connections with zero shame, and plenty of sparkle. Tonight's episode, we are focusing on vanilla but curious audience, those who aren't kinky yet but might just need the right flavor.
And you know me, I'm your host, Legendary Onyx. I am here
Negative
with
one
my
up.
wonderful, my beautiful, my fascinating
Camera 2, live.
Love is love. Um, this is a live, very live, from Project Vita, creating a space of engagement when an audience can explore their curiosity about kink in a supportive environment.
Camera 3, live.
Thank you. But before we dive in, we want to introduce our very special guest, Kay from Kinky Black House. We thank you and welcome you to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Close to
like
camera
you said,
two.
my name is
Camera
Kay,
two.
I'm pronounced R-H-D. I am the founder of Kinky Black House, which is a cutesy BIPOC kink organization based out of Chicago that focuses on resources, education, and experiences for cutesy BIPOC kinksters in the Chicago area.
Camera 3, live.
And how long y'all been around?
Since 2022, actually. Yeah, so a little bit of a while, but we took a little break. We're coming back to it, excited more than ever.
Back to life.
Thank you. So we're gonna have a little audience engagement with our studio audience and our online audience. We want you both to participate in this. So we want you to describe in the chat or your paper, are you more vanilla, kinky, or somewhere in between and curious? How would you describe yourself? And I want to ask my co-host and guest, how would you describe yourself as well?
I would definitely
Camera
describe
two, live.
myself as more kinky because I feel like my kink and my ethics around kink affects everything in my life. So kink is life. So definitely more kinky.
I am in between. So I'm kink adjacent some days. But there are so many working parts of me. And I grew up very vanilla. And I grew up very much approved. And so some days I'm kinky, and some days I'm like, keep that shit over there. And I'm gonna stay over here. And the two ain't gonna meet. What about you, LL?
I would say that I'm a bit of both, just like you are. Definitely, I have my moments of where I'm more vanilla, where like, you know, keep that over there, I'm good. I'm not gonna yuck anybody else's yum, but I'm not into it. And I would definitely say, yeah, I am a kink person.
And what do you mean by yuck somebody else?
I'm not gonna judge you because it's something that is not favorable for me or that I'm used to or want to participate in. I'm not gonna yuck what feels good to you or what's yummy for you.
Gotcha. And we use the term. So right now, we're going to school and this is 101. And so we're going to talk about some definitions. And so first and foremost, vanilla is not a bad word. It's just a starting point. When we talk about the definition of being vanilla, it's someone who prefers plain things. Like vanilla ice cream, but not really. When we're talking about sex talk, it means someone who is into typical everyday sex stuff. Not really into wild or out the box, BDSM or any type of fetish.
Okay, so now we're gonna talk about what does it mean for you to be kink-curious. So imagine someone who's heard about a cool restaurant, but they haven't tried it yet, and you're curious about kink, BDSM, or other non-traditional sex things, and you're open to checking out these things, even if you haven't tried it or fully jumped in yet.
And so when we talk about BDSM and the community, BDSM community, it just stands for 4 letters: bondage, discipline, sadism, masochism. It's just a big, giant umbrella term for different kinds of consensual sex and role play with people in power, pain, pleasure, and different sensations together. I say it's like you go in a Costco and get all the things you need.
Yes, okay, I like that, which also makes me think about, community, right? You either going to Sam's Club or you're a Costco person, so we want to talk about what's your community. And when we say community, in this case, we're talking about groups of folks who are all into kink, BDSM, or alternative sex lives. And these groups are places where people can come and learn, hang out, support each other, have consensual fun, whether they're online or in person. So you could go and find your community in many spaces, right? So I want to ask you something about your personal journey into kink, right? A lot of us, we have gotten pulled into some kink spaces, and we thought we were going to a cute little gathering, a cute little party, and afterwards you're like, I need to call a therapist or a really good friend and talk to them, and not in a bad way, but in a good way. So I want to ask Kay if you can share, and then Legendary.
Yeah, so my intro into the kink community, I found it online, jumped in head first. Just went straight into playing, went straight into engaging in kinks and with my romantic partners and play partners. And I had to take a step back from that and learn more, educate myself more. And in that, taking a step back, I found an entirely new love for kink, and it became more than just sex. So it became something that became part of my lifestyle, part of my ethics, part of how I see myself as a person as well. So that is kind of my intro into kink, but it's definitely been a long journey. It's been a long 8-year journey of experiencing kink in all its different forms.
So I got 2 stories.
Okay.
So picture it, Chicago, 1997. I snuck and turned on, I think it was Showtime,
Oh,
and watching Real Sex.
yes.
And hoping my grandparents didn't come downstairs while I was watching the nasty people naked, and didn't understand what I was watching.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to 2017, I was invited to a nude party. And at the nude party, when a friend invited me, I just was going because a friend invited me. It was never my intention to find my community, find my family, to find the freedom. And ultimately, I found Legendary.
Nice.
Now, what about you?
Yeah, so my journey actually started in my healing work. Because
Your healing work? What is your healing work?
yeah, so I am a triple Reiki master teacher. I'm a sound therapist. I'm a life coach and quite a few things. And kink found me because in my coaching work, I used to do intimacy coaching with other people. And at the time, I remember going through a really heavy breakup. Like it was pretty traumatic, right? I was in a closed heterosexual poly triad, and so it was kind of like having to break up with 2 people. And I didn't want to close myself off because I had so much love to give to my community and myself. And I began teaching a lot of the sacred intimacy work and things that I knew were some things that I needed and what would have helped in that connection and how I had helped others and just the things that I liked. It needed a place to express itself, but I wasn't in any relationship to do that. And so, like, I didn't come into where I didn't come into anybody's space that I didn't feel comfortable in. I created my own space and invited people to come in. It wasn't until much later that I'm like, okay, y'all worthy, so I'll come over here then. So I want to ask.
Now, I got another question for the question.
Yes.
And you can answer this later when we get to the announcement.
Okay.
That's partly where things like your cuddle experience was birthed.
There was the rebirth from that experience. Yes, because I was doing cuddle parties in my house with I was a part of a group of healers, Black healers, and we were like, okay, we want to have a cuddle party, y'all. And we had it at my house and people didn't leave my house. Like, why are we having breakfast and whatnot? Get out. This afternoon, I need to do things. Get out my house. And it was almost like watching each adult leave, at different times, they were getting picked up from school. Like, okay, your parents here, get out my house now. Right. Nobody left at the same time. Everybody was just invited to leave when they wanted to. And I had actually forgot about the cuddle parties that I used to do for a long time because I had put them away. And then they came back to surface first in my mind. And then more people start asking me for them. And so I'm like, okay. And Kay's place actually was the safe place for me to house that at. I needed to be in, for me, a safe space to do my work. Yeah. Yeah. So, right. Finding your community. That actually leads us right into that. Right. So I want to ask the audience and all of you online as well, what's something that makes you feel safe when you're in new spaces, especially when it comes to meeting new people or exploring new communities, right? For me, I just shared, coming into your space was a place that I knew okay, I can house this work, right? It's safe for me to explore and invite people in. So what I want to ask you all as well that.
What makes me feel safe in a new space is definitely seeing people that look like me. So diverse faces, making sure that there are people of color in positions of decision making in a space. Definitely it illuminates whether or not this is a space for me to be in. And then on top of that, just super clear communication, super clear boundaries and rules, expectations, just kind of outlining what it is that is okay for me to do, what is not okay for me to do, how I should show up, how I should dress. Those are important things for me for understanding how a new space really runs. Because if you're going to a space for the first time, you have no idea what to do, especially if you're not a part of the community and you're not a part of the kink scene or space that people are engaging in kink in the city, right? If you're not a part of that and you're not informed, then you could go to these spaces being way more anxious, way more uncomfortable than you really need to be. So having clear instructions, clear communication, clear rules, and knowing that a space is consent driven and really that it's highly important to them that a space is consent focused and that there are good accountability practices in play. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The only thing I will add is the old adage, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And so there are times when you see people in the community who might be melanated, but just because they got your melon don't mean they one of your people. And so you have to be okay when you see someone who is not community to understand what you're seeing. So we're gonna move right along, and we're gonna talk about being comfort in new spaces. So everybody don't want to be like Ariel from Little Mermaid, where she sang the song "Part of Your World." But some of y'all just want to be ready to put your little toe in. It's okay. Put your toe in the space.
Yes, and some of you all are just looking for folks who can see you and they're not here to try to fix you. You know, like you're looking for those places where you're comfortable, you feel connected to the people that are there, right? You have a vision that's aligned with the other person, or something that you're just into. Yep, and nobody's there like, girl, that's don't be doing that.
And some things to remember about making sure there's clear cut communication about any type of expectation.
Yes. I like that.
So next, we're going to talk about finding community. So the biggest one, the cheapest one, is social media. And when we're talking about social media, it's about exploring relevant hashtags to find online communities and discussion about kink. It's always about the power of the hashtag.
Yes. I want to add to going to local events, right? You can attend different munches and local gatherings to meet people in person. And also, if there's someone that you know that you've met in these gatherings, like see what they're up to, go with them, go with each other, like bring a friend if you have one.
Mm-hmm. Now, Lotus, I'm gonna ask the question: what is a munch? Am I?
Yes. So and you can add to this, or actually, I want to defer to Kay for this one. You gave such a good definition.
Is a munch?
What?
Munches ain't munching.
Community space. A munch is just a community space. So like a munch originally started off with just going to being in places where people went to go and eat, which is kind of where that word is derived from. Of like munch is literally munchies, munching, eaten. All right, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be like necessarily eating in these spaces. It just means this is like a community space for people who are interested in the same thing to come together, politic, meet new partners, vet new people, find out new resources. This is like your local book club, your local like walking group. This is where kinksters go to do all the social aspects of being in community.
Thank you, because again, so y'all and I tell people all the time, when you come here, you in our living room, and we might be talking about stuff in the living room that you might not understand. So we're going to ask all the questions so you get all the understanding, and all that can get understanding. So we're going to talk about some online groups. So join consent-forward online communities. Again, consent-forward online communities to learn and connect. We keep using the word consent. We're going to come back to it and get a definition.
Yes.
Real soon.
We're going to get a definition real soon, right? I want to talk about, too, like some of the things that Kay mentioned in coming to munches. Some of our community partners, Onyx Midwest, Meow University, and Kinky Black House. Those are some places that, host classes. Munches. I've been to some munches that Kay has had, and we've done things like just play cards, watch movies, right?
Absolutely. So this is the part where y'all can sit back and you can watch, because we getting ready to watch a good scene. And with the scene, we're going to talk about things like negotiation, consent, and we're going to have a nice, pretty. That's why we got Miss K. We're going to do a nice, pretty rope demo.
Yeah, so Kay is gonna do a rope demo where they're gonna talk about all the things Legendary spoke about, consent, how to move through some rope tie, how to build trust with your bottom, and we just want to connect with what's going on.
Yeah, so we can start off by introducing Ocean. So Ocean will be my wonderful rope demo bottom for today. So we'll kind of just talk through the tie a little bit as best as we can. But for context, we're going to be doing a little chest harness. So Ocean, do you feel comfortable with the chest harness, or any questions that you have before we get started? Okay, so I'm going to be testing your chest with my hand and with the rope. We'll kind of stick to the upper torso area. Is that okay with you? Okay, awesome. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to put down the mic.
So, what kind of rope are you using there?
So I am using jute rope. Jute rope is typically like the rope you'll see for purists, people who are really attached to the traditional aesthetics of shibari. And shibari being rope bondage, literally just erotic rope bondage that we do. It can be decorative, it can be playful, it can be sensual, it can be sexual, whatever the intention is behind the play itself.
Nice, nice, nice. And Ocean, how are you feeling as Kay is tying you?
I'm pretty good. I like how the rope is very structured and sturdy.
Yes, yes. That's what I think having that particular rope does. It feels like a structured, steady rope that's not going to go anywhere.
And Ocean, is this the first time you all have played together?
No, this is my practice partner, my regular partner in rope. We practice pretty often. So it's something, rope is something that you kind of have to practice in to get good at, to understand and move seamlessly, especially when you're learning people's bodies. So it's something that we practice pretty often.
Yeah. Would you say that in the kink space, that rope is something that you really, really have to have a lot of trust with the other person?
Definitely. But trust is something that's earned, something that you can grow into, something that you can build with a person. So it's not something that inherently you have to trust somebody from the get-go to get started. You need information. You need information to be able to make informed decisions about whether or not you want to play with people.
Nice. Are there any places that you recommend someone either attend to some classes or some videos? Where can people learn some information beforehand?
Yeah, Shibari Study is a great resource for online learning. You can always utilize resources such as like Duchy, which is a mostly free online resource that you can get videos, demonstrations, picture instructions on how to tie, and just a little bit of information to get started in your journey. But usually I recommend having an in-person teacher as best as you can, because at some point you're going to get stuck and YouTube ain't going to tell you the answer.
Yes, 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 yes. Do you teach people?
I do. So I do teach rope. I teach beginner level rope. So if you are interested in rope from the beginner level, that's definitely something that I have at Kinky Black House, and I do personal private lessons as well.
Nice.
And if someone wanted to pay for the lessons, do you charge for the lessons?
I offer a sliding scale basis. So it just depends on what people are able to provide, and I'm always willing to barter. I feel like that's important to have as a community resource.
And Miss K, what do you mean by sliding scale?
So sliding scale means that, you know, you can come to me and let me know what your budget is. So if it is within something that I can do, if I have the capacity to do it, I may even teach you for free, you know, but it just depends on what's going on in my life.
Yeah. I have a question. Would you say that rope play is a gateway to the kink world?
I would definitely say that it is a fun thing to engage in, especially as a beginner. Do I think that it is necessarily something that beginners should start off with? No. Just because you can definitely get discouraged when things are difficult, and rope does require a little bit of information to be able to do things safely. Now, it is something that you can definitely get involved in at just a purely sensual level or sexual level, learn a couple ties that help you achieve that, and not have to learn about anything else, and that's perfectly fine as well. But I would say that, you know, getting a feel for what rope feels like on your body, and if you're even interested in it, is super important, and just before you commit to it.
Yeah. Would you recommend for those that are still trying to find their community and they just have YouTube? What about them doing some simple self tie? What's that like? Do you think that's a way for them to build some trust within themselves and the rope so that they can eventually get to the place where they can do that with a partner?
I highly recommend self-tying for everyone, regardless of whether you plan on tying with a partner or you're trying to get tied. Self-tying helps you understand whether or not you even like the rope, whether or not it's something that you're interested in, and allows you a little bit of peace of being able to play without actually having the pressure of finding partners or you know, finding places to do so. You can do it at home. You do it with one rope. You can do it with whatever you need.
And where did you get this rope from?
So this rope, I actually got it imported from Japan because I sell rope. So I do like bend rope at events sometimes. So I pretty much have this on hand. But you can buy rope from online resources such as Box Body Studio, Damn Good Rope Company, Agreeable Agony if you're not interested in natural fiber ropes and you want something more synthetic, something you can throw in the washer and dryer. Agreeable Agony has great rope for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So can I just get the twine that I see at Home Depot?
No, you definitely have to get rope that's rated for the activities that you're playing in. The way that it feels on the body is not similar to the same rope that you would get from Home Depot. It definitely will pinch more if you're getting rope that's not built for it, as well as it just won't do what you're trying to do. It's not going to hold the actual knots that you're trying to hold, the frictions that you're trying to hold. You want to make sure that you're getting rope that is specifically graded for shibari or rope bondage.
Yeah, and I will attest for I taught a class with rope and knife play, and there were people that came into the class that had other ropes and not that rope. You know, I think I'll say Kay kind of maybe turned me out a little bit to I'm a purist. I hate other ropes. I don't like it. It moves. And that rope, it just feels good, right? You know, like the person that's doing the tying, they feel very connected to the body. And if the person that's doing it is connected, then you can build some trust with your bottom. How do you feel in that? You can breathe, you can move, you feel secure. Thank you.
Right, I can grab you from the back over here.
Thank you.
Well, thank you both. We appreciate you. And we always love a good bottom. They make the world go around.
Yes.
So now we're going to talk about building trust and setting boundaries. So we're going to play a little game, y'all.
Okay, let's play a little game.
The game is yes, maybe no. Yes, maybe no. And with this, we're just going to discuss negotiation. Negotiation is simply said about setting boundaries. So one of the valid rules are always don't touch me and don't try to fuck me.
Yes.
We'll also emphasize how kink spaces often prioritize explicit consent. There's that word again. Boundary setting, creating potential safer environments than mainstream dating scenes. Or the fake dating scenes. Whew, moving right along. So we're just gonna play this game, y'all. And so if you at home or you in the studio audience, if you at home, you could type it in even, where we'll discuss yes, maybe no. Yes, maybe no. And so we'll just ask, because I ain't asking nothing, ask some questions regarding the spaces and how we maneuver. Yes is yes. It's a definite. And you happy about it. Maybe, I'm curious, but give me some more information. And no is just that. I ain't interested. Don't even try.
Yes.
So we're going to ask some questions. And right now it's just me and LL.
Yes.
I don't know why I started calling you LL, but I like it.
It's fine.
I hope you...
Do I give consent? Are you asking?
Yes.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Listen, consent is sexy. That's what I always tell people.
Yes. So keep typing in the chat, everybody. What are your yeses and your nos and your maybes, right? For those of you all that are online. But we want to move into some pictures. Yeah, we want to talk about some audience vibes, right? And we want to talk about building trust. And we have a few minutes left, so we want to take a couple of questions from the audience, right? And those that are in the chat. So let me read you a couple of these, right? And we'll see what your responses are to these. It's like I want to be myself, all of me, but sometimes talking about sexuality feels risky. How do you find a safe space where you can just be you without judgment?
You look for it. You look for it because they exist. They really do. They exist everywhere. There's so many people that feel the exact same way that you do, that have the capacity to create that space. There's a whole bunch of people that feel that exact same way that are looking for that space as well. But you do have to get out there. You do have to get online. You have to get out in person. You may need to talk to a couple people. But looking online is definitely the first place that I always say for like introverts. Like if you Google it, you probably can find it. You can find an Instagram page. You can find a FetLife page. You can find, some type of ad somewhere on Eventbrite, right? That aligns with what you're looking for and what you're interested in. But establishing like for yourself, like what does that community look like? Do you only want to be around queer people? Do you want to be around queer people that skateboard? Do you want to be around queer people over 50? Like what kind of community are you really looking for? And that'll help you identify what spaces are right for you when you're looking at things online or seeing things in your normal community spaces.
Nice. You.
Only thing I will add is, sorry, the big kid in me just heard the theme song of Arthur. You got to listen to your heart.
Listen to the rhythm.
Rhythm of the beat. We don't own rights, PBS.
We don't own the rights to that song. We didn't even sing all the words to.
Bam. But it's really about I'm trying to think of a nice way to say it because sometimes people say I can be mean. But I will say if you understand someone If their energy is off, you understand they trash, their energy is trash, embrace it. It's okay to walk away. And one thing, we've been talking about consent, and for me, consent, and Kay, you can always jump in. Um, for me, consent is really just conversation and you saying yes or no. Excuse me. And when someone says it's okay to, consent is okay to change. So if in the middle of the scene, I'm like, I'm good, I don't want to do this no more, you got to be okay with saying, I don't want to do no more of this. And you got to be okay with walking away.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that completely. I think that like sometimes we look at consent as like an end destination or like something that once you've got, like you're good. But like no, it is an ongoing conversation. It's something that's fluid, that's flowing, that like is something that can be taken back at any point, and it's something that you can reaffirm at any point, right? You could be in the middle of the scene, you could be like, actually, it was a maybe, and now it's a hell yeah. I am into this, okay? So it could go either way, but it's always a continuous conversation. So like I definitely agree with that.
The other thing to add is understanding a person's yes, because sometimes people say yes or they'll say no and they really mean yes. So if you already have that established relationship with a partner, you understand when they be like no, that they really mean, hell motherfucking yeah, give me more. And so it's really a matter of understanding your partner, understanding, because as they say on the talk of tick, grape is real.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't force any, this ain't Dream Girls. Curtis ain't supposed to love you, baby.
Right. Yeah.
You can't force someone to love you. You can't force somebody to consent to something that they never want to consent for.
Yeah. I think that it's really important as a giver or a receiver, right? In not just in kink spaces, but just in life, constantly like check in. Like you said, consent is not something that's ongoing. Some things are, I might have said yes because I was open to explore a thing. But once I got into the thing, I'm like, nope, you know what? I actually don't like that. And you have to be able to, kink is a place for you to define your yes and no's, right? Your pleasure and have access to it. Your no is attached to that. And so when those things changes, there's the aspect of it where it's like your kink has yes or no. It is your birthright to be able to explore what you do like and be able to express what you don't like. And also in playing with someone, establish some nonverbals as well prior to. That's something that happens in the consent negotiation. We did witness Kay give a very brief example of what that looks like, setting the expectations and asking Ocean, are they okay? These are things that you have access to when you're in playing with someone, like, we still good? And if you don't have the words, you've already established that a thumbs down means no, right? Or a green for go, that's a thumbs up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just being responsible, especially if you're in the giver or top or dominant space, being responsible to pay attention to the body that's in front of you. Do what's appropriate for the body that's in front of you. So if the body in front of you looks like it's gonna tap, if it looked like a duck, it quack like a duck, damn it, it's a duck, right? If that body is unable to communicate certain things with you, then you stop the scene, stop playing, right? Maybe have some water, and now reestablish new boundaries and consent, right? That's important, right?
I love everything that you're saying. It actually ties into like a framework of kink consent and like just consent in
A
general.
framework? What's a framework?
Yes, a framework. So like a structure, a path, or like a structured way of talking about consent, right? So there's trauma-informed consensual kink, which is the framework for consent and talking about consent that's specifically created for Black people and people of color, people who have inherent trauma in our bodies and in our experiences just in life, right? People who are at a higher risk of experiencing traumatic sexual assault and things like that in our lives as well. Just out of just like the places that we're in, the communities that we're in, and also the lack of conversation that we have around consent in our communities as well. So like trauma-informed consensual kink, TIC for short, kind of builds this framework where like you build out assuming that you need to plan for worst case scenario. You need to plan for what if you're nonverbal? What if you have a panic attack? What if you, are not able to say your safe word or not able to speak back to me? Like how do I navigate those types of situations? How do I bring us back to the last point that you consented to, the last point that you felt comfortable in, so that we can actually have a conversation as opposed to having a conversation while you're halfway in the air hanging upside down, right? You want to have that conversation when you're starting to feel shaky on the ground. So establishing like good frameworks for telling people where you're at, how you're feeling, number systems, nonverbal systems, like you said, thumbs up, thumbs down, tapping on your chest, tapping on the other person. There are ways that we need to plan for that are just outside of getting a yes or no, right? And also holding space for the fact that when we're engaging in kink, if we're kink curious, if we're vanilla and just dipping our little toes in, right, that maybe we aren't as enthusiastic consent asks for. Maybe we're hesitant, maybe we're curious, maybe we need a little bit more information, maybe we're willing to try, but we've never done it before. So how can we be enthusiastic about something we've never experienced, right? So there is holding space for the fact that like we may go into it a little bit on a maybe, but having that space to be able to tell somebody it was a maybe 5 seconds ago, it's a no now. It was a maybe 5 seconds ago, it's a hell yes now, right? Let's do it. Let's even go further, right? The next time. So like, these are things that we need to have space for it to be able to go one way or the other, and making sure that we also hold space for the fact that even if we have planned it out to the T, if everything goes wrong, what do we do? How do we bring us back into ourselves? How do we bring us back to a place where we can have a conversation about how to move forward?
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah.
So I got a question.
I had a question too, and a quick story that I was involving Kay. Yes. So may I share our business a little? Okay. Because what you say, we in the living room?
Mm-hmm.
So,
coffee table right in front of us.
yes, nice. Going through, some tying, suspension. I had tied Kay. We didn't go off the ground too high. Everything was good, right? Then it turned into, it's my turn. All right, cool. The first time, I'm a little bit of an escape artist. So I was trying to find a way to get out the rope. That's just me, right? I do that for fun for myself. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The second time, Kay was very determined of like, no, we're going to do this. And I'm a big frame body. So I'm like, I check chairs before I sit down in it. Can it handle me? And I'm the same way when it comes to rope. I'm not playing with, I think you're the person I'm going to play with. That's it. Right. That's just what it is. And Kay was tying me, and there we got to this one point where I looked you in your eye, and I was like, "Oh, I have to trust you." And then I realized that with rope at that point for myself, it wasn't just, I'm like, "Okay, I trust you," but then I was like, "Do I trust the rope to hold me in the way I needed to be held?" Right. And I think about that with just people that I'm going to play with. If I am, do I trust you to hold me in the space that I need? And it took us 4 other people, literally. It took 4 other people, but I knew that I was in a safe space, but I also was able to advocate for myself. I'm like, yep, I need you to sit real close and talk to me. I need to just look at your face because your face is saying all the things that I know I'm thinking in my brain. I had even, I had even given people those names. You're going to be my brain. You're going to be the heart. And I had someone else in the room that was just there as the eyes watching. And I was able to articulate what I needed because I gave consent. I didn't want things to end, but I knew I got to make some adjustments in this. And Kay was patient enough. That's the other part, finding a partner that's patient enough with you that you can trust to have a conversation with and get you to the next place. If you're like, I don't want to stop playing, but I need something else to happen for me. And that happens when you've built community with a person, when you've been around them enough, when you vetted them, like, look, I need to talk to you a couple times, in other spaces before we get there. And before we knew it, I was in the air, suspended, swinging, and I was all good. But it took a minute for me to get there. And it doesn't matter. Even a person who is already identified as a non-vanilla person, there's levels to this. And as a person, for me, I'm like, yeah, I'll tie you up. But I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Put me in the air. Wait. It took a while. It took a couple weeks, actually, for me to grasp that this was going to happen when I'm ready. And Kay was able to say, are you ready? And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. So, yeah.
Before we move on, one question I want to ask you all, dealing with being kink curious, was there something that you were curious about in the beginning that you were like, it would be a hell no, or it would be a yes? And what was that switch like? So if you want, I can go first. For me, I have 2 that I can think of. The first one was foot play. You ain't touching my feet. You ain't sucking my toes. You ain't doing none of that. Then in the middle of it, I was like, there must be a God somewhere. But another one was actually the first time I was flogged. I had seen people be flogged, and then I met I'm trying to think of a nice way to say it, an 8x11 who wanted to. Or as the kids I used to work with say, I met a vanilla person and they wanted to. And all I could think about was all my ancestors. And I'm like, mm-mm. And then I met someone that looked like me. And when they flogged me, I remember a couple of hours later after falling asleep while they were flogging me. Oh yeah, the first time I flogged, I fell asleep. And not regular sleep. I was snoring
Ooh,
and
he
slobbing.
was deep in it.
He went for about an hour.
Oh wow, that's good. That's good. What they say, that's crazy work.
It was the cadence of the thump.
Yes.
So
You
speak.
found your space to be
Oh.
you're comfortable
Oh.
in. Yes. Yes.
Back down memory lane. So what about you all? Is there something that was a definite hell no, but then, or a definite yes that you were curious about, and you went either hell no in the middle, or you went I'll try again.
I would say probably the one that was like a hell no that turned into a hell yes was needle play, honestly. I struggled with a lot of shame around needle play, a lot of like feelings before I had ever even touched it, learned anything about it. I was like, this is not for me. And I couldn't really place why, right? I couldn't really place why it made me so uncomfortable. But then I went to a class. Then I went to a space where I had somebody who looked like me and had the same experiences as me, like talk me through it, walk me through it, allow me to do it on myself first, to allow me to like fully experience both the top and bottom aspect without having to worry about, do I want to play with this person, right? And that shifted things for me. It absolutely did. Now I will say I do not like doing needles on myself. I learned that in that process. but I do really enjoy topping for needles, and I feel like it brought out big vamp energy out of me. Like I was like, I'm Queen of the Damned. I am taking all of the blood, all the vampire stuff. Like it was what I was feeling in that moment. And it's definitely been a shift. It's definitely been a shift towards that more and more as I have like learned more about it, played more with it. And I think a lot of that was just shame and fear, and that shit is man-made. You know, so I just had to get rid of it. I had to get rid of it, and it opened up a totally new experience for me.
Yes. I like what one of you, well, both, a combination of both of what you said, which makes me just always think about that. I'm really mindful of in educating Black and brown people, that our ancestors had things done to them that some of your hell no's aren't always the hell no because of your own embodiment. Is stuff that's deep in your spirit. And so like even sometimes rope play and knife play and needle play and those things, stuff happen to your people. And sometimes there's those triggers in your spirit, and you have a reaction, and it is good to just explore, right? What is that's happening? Why am I having this response? Definitely the part of like what we talked about just before that was the consent part, and having a good person that you can trust and go through a process with a person is really important, because you can then find out, is this me or is this my people? Where's this fear coming from? You know, fear is yes, your fear is valid, but sometimes it's not about are you safe or not, right? Because if you're like, I'm afraid, am I safe? No, I'm not safe. Okay, stop. Whatever it is that you're doing. But if it's, I'm afraid, I haven't even done the thing, then that's part of what it is. It's coming from a place of somewhere in your spirit being afraid of the unknown, or even something that may have been like a trauma story throughout your lineage that you didn't maybe never experience. So I just wanted to just add that into the mix, right?
And I will just, as we go just around the river bend and wrap up, I will say this, that for me, I don't have problems playing with Caucasian people. I don't. I love vanilla people. I do. As in those who are the color of vanilla. But I also love caramel people and chocolate people. However, there are some people that look like me who give the same um, feelings. But as we see, it is that time again. It's time for announcements. Tonight we talked about rope play and ropes, and how a rope can bring you on into the community, and that is a real connection. Next month is August. Shit, the year's going by fast. And so the theme is is whack. How to end bad or boring sex. But before we close, let's look at what is coming up.
Yes. So our next Toy With Me episode, we want you to tune in to our YouTube channel in August for our new guests, new toys, and fresh conversation.
And so then we're talking about the mind, body, and soul wellness, health and wellness. It is free spiritual, physical wellness services for Black, gay, bisexual, and same gender loving men. It includes fitness, dance, yoga, cooking classes, acupuncture, and massage therapy 6 days a week. But tomorrow is what? It's Monday. So what is that? That's Meal Prep Mondays. Every Monday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., there is a cooking class here at Project Vita. The class is led by Chef Blake and Chef Nick. If you want to register for the class, all you got to do is call 773-277-2291. That's what? 773-277-2291.
So we want to share with you some things we got going on free at Project Vita. Walk-ins are accepted from Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. You can also sign up to get some free testing, your free HIV or STI test, and you receive a toy box. I'm practicing my Vanna skills. Remember, test, play, repeat. And you can call us at 773-277-2291 to register for your testing and other services.
And so we want to thank our wonderful, beautiful, amazing, vivacious Lotus Love. I only say that because I love you dearly.
Yes.
And we had the amazing Miss K.
Kinky Black House.
We thank you, and we thank you for your services. And until next year, next month, we'll see you later. Goodbye.
It's a lot.